We are really blessed people. Wow, good. So we have a few more days left in the week, right? Let's see. How do you guys figure out your week? How do you do it? Like today's Wednesday, so what are you thinking about the next 3 days? Do you have anything in your like? Do you organize? I mean, of course. What do you? How do you do it, Sturge? How do you do it, Pastor Sturge? What? Okay. Yes. You're retired. Semi. So you work 2 days a week, and your wife is working still, and you've got your schedule. So, like your schedule, you come into the church and you have some things at your office or as a volunteer. And by the way, thank you very much for that. That you walk with the Lord to serve the body, as a volunteer. It's like amazing. So it's Wednesday night, so what's happening Thursday. And also, we have a little bit of a looser schedule. Like, Dawn, you're not in the classroom yet, right? That day is coming. 2.5 weeks from today. The teachers will be locked into a schedule. And so I have a little bit of time to work with, right? So, how do you do it, Pastor Tom? Right, right. Yes, right. Yeah. Well, maybe also I know that. I'm not telling you, but you have somebody in your mind you're going to call. Like when you go to bed at night. Sometimes for me, the night before I go to bed, I think of tomorrow. And is there something I need to do tomorrow? Or in the morning, like maybe early, like what is it? What is it that I have? What should I be thinking about? And I pray for that. I don't really have a lot of confidence in myself about it. But I just say, Lord, help me. Like, is there somebody? And imagine, you know, just, yesterday in a couple hours' time, I got messages, especially with our phones, all these apps, all the text messages, emails, WhatsApp, videos from France and Norway and Azerbaijan and India and so on. You know what I mean? Uh, so so that's like part of it. And then you have your domestic responsibilities, right? Keeping your wife happy, maybe. They're the wife trying to keep you happy, right? Yeah. Then you have, like the church things, the different activities, young people. You have an outreach day, or maybe in the back of your mind is like people. Also the downtime. Maybe you need to be, like I think of the teachers like a lot, like the teachers, and what a schedule to teach hours every day, preparation, and then it's a big commitment. It's amazing. Thank you for that. So this is just talking a little bit. Let's see. What else could we say about it? So you have a 3 days ahead. You have next week, and then you have like maybe a 3 month schedule, like in the next 3 months. And is there anything there that I should pay attention to? Because sometimes you don't do these things weekly, but you do them quarterly or biannually. You know, there are those things that might come up, and also. What else do you have? You've got your physical needs, like maybe you got to go to the dentist or go to the doctor How about your bills? How about paying bills? Okay, Leah, you got a comment on that? Yes, you know all about it. No, your husband does it. You do, okay. All right. So what would you like to say about that? Pay your bills. How about credit card bill? If you don't pay it, what happens? You get penalized. The interest kicks in, you know. So managing financially your household, right? Okay, physical, financial, spiritual, ministry-wise, people, so, okay, that's the end. Let's turn to Genesis chapter 41. And this particular verse kind of got my attention. I shared it in the morning devotional. You would hear it there, and then this morning, and then in the staff meeting, I made mention of it, and then I'm just going to make reference here. Verse 55. When all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. And Pharaoh said unto all the Egyptians, Go unto Joseph. What he says to you, do. All right, here's our first point. And it has to do with our little introduction here about how do you organize your time? How do you organize your calendar? How do you organize your responsibility? 3 days ahead, 1 week ahead, a couple weeks ahead, a month ahead, 3 months ahead, once a year. Like what are you going to do every year? Biannually, twice a year. All right, so Pharaoh said, the people are hungry, go to Joseph. Whatever Joseph says, do that. So Joseph becomes the head, not the tail. Deuteronomy 28:13, if we obey God, we become the head and not the tail. Now, for a leader to be in a crisis like Pharaoh was and say, okay, the famine is here, but I knew this would happen because I had a dream. And how many dreams did Pharaoh have about the same famine? 2 dreams, yeah. Why 2 dreams? What? Yeah, a confirmation, witness of 2. How about God has spoken once, twice have I heard it? Okay, that's another, Psalm 62:10. How about my, my unbelief, and I just need to hear it again. And so Pharaoh was prepared. God prepared Pharaoh that there would be a famine coming. So when it came, he said what? Go see Joseph. Whatever he does, that's what you should do. Okay. So in your life, before the crisis comes, you should have something going on in your heart before it comes to prepare you and me for life. And in this story, the dreams directed the Pharaoh to Joseph. Joseph is the one that's going to counsel Pharaoh. And this is what he said. There'll be 7 years of famine, 7 years of plenty. First will come the plenty, then comes the famine. So this is what we have to do. We have to take the surplus, store it. When we store it, we'll have it. Then when they come hungry, we'll have something to give them. Very simple. But if it's not ahead of time thought about and prepared, then I'm going to have a crisis, and I'm not going to have anything to say to the people when they came. Like, we don't have any food, and he could say, that's not my problem, that's your problem. And that's all that he has to say. And that happens. That's what the world doesn't have what it is that we have. We hope, anyway, that we have the preparation. I'm not saying it in an absolute sense, I'm saying it in principle. I would love to have a Joseph in my life. I would love to have somebody in my life who knows ahead of time. I love to have somebody who's prepared for the crisis. And of course, Jesus is that person. He's the one that's prepared for the crisis called life. He's the one with the answers. And in a way, Pharaoh said, go see Joseph and do whatever he tells you to do. And that's like a good thing for us. That go do whatever he is saying, because he knows, and he has something for us. I don't know, like, really in practical terms what it is, because I just believe that everything that we would ever face in life, that Jesus would have a word for us. I just believe that's a supply of the Spirit, the supply of wisdom, the supply of comfort. He sends the Comforter. All right, so, okay, go to the next verse, please. It's 56. And the famine was all over the face of the earth, and Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold unto the Egyptians, and the famine waxed sore in the land of Egypt. So that phrase, he opened all the storehouses, was that phrase that I love it, to think that there's somebody who's prepared for the crisis, who has the storehouses, and he opens them up. And he says, here you go. This is what you need. And here I am. I did it by the grace of God. I knew ahead of time. I knew what the dreams meant. I acted on it. That's another good thing. Execution. I actually did it. That's the thing that I have to pray for all the that not only would I know, but I'd be able to execute in preparation for what was coming, right? Would that be cool? That we did that, and then when it's coming, then we are there. So at your table, do you want to talk about your preparation? Well, how about this idea? Do you save any money, like David Ramsey would say? Do you save any money for the crisis? Are you taking care of yourself physically, health-wise? Are you taking care of yourself? Keep moving. Keep interacting with people. Keep serving. Keep being involved. Be preparing. Okay. Maybe your friends have the good kind, not the bad kind. They will help you open the storehouses and be ready for what is coming. Okay? You got 3 minutes. 3 minutes of happiness. Okay. Let's see. Did anybody come up with anything at the table worth repeating on the internet? What? Yeah, Karen. Wisdom and knowledge will be the stability of your times. Well, okay, storehouse treasure. The Lord is your treasure. The fear of the Lord. Fear of the Lord is your treasure, your storehouse, where you like store treasure. Actually, yes. Beautiful. Yes. 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 Hmm. Yes. 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 He could lead us. Yes, he could lead us in a situation. I years ago, 1979, I was in Poland, and there was a group of Christians, and they had this in their history. Like, where did you guys come from? They're from Poland, but they moved to Czech, up in the mountains, a part of Czechoslovakia, Czech in the Czech part. And they said that their parents or grandparents had a prophecy to leave Poland before World War II. And they went to this part of Czech, They're still in the war. They were still, part of the World War II, but um, I really don't know what really the benefits. Maybe they escaped like some of the horror and the horror that happened in Poland in the war. Maybe they escaped by not being there, but leaving. Anyway, I would like to say that with a lot of confidence. I can't really because I don't really know, but just the idea of a Christian group and them having the conviction that they need to leave, and in a timely way. You know what I mean? All right. So I don't want to confuse what you're saying. I think what you just said really ministers to me. That if every day I'm receiving into the storehouse of my heart, you know, wisdom and love and faith, then I'm going to assume that He's preparing me for whatever is ahead of me. I've got to believe that, right? So, I mean, it happened with Joseph in Egypt, which was, by the way, a horrible situation he was in because he was in prison unjustly. Like, he was 17 years old when he was sold down to Egypt. He was in Potiphar's house. The woman framed him, maligned him. He goes to prison unjustly. And then, he has a gift. He has a gift that exalts him and brings him before Pharaoh. And then he has the understanding of what to do. And so they do that. So by the time I did the numbers, like he was 30 years old when he got out of the prison and was stood before Pharaoh. So he's 30 years old. So then the famine, I mean, the good years is he understands what to do. So there's 7 years, 37. Then the famine comes, like when he's 38 years old. So by the time he's 40, there's something like that. He's in his late 30s, in the 40 years old, when his brothers come from Canaan, and they couldn't recognize him. They didn't recognize him because he spoke through an interpreter, even though Hebrew was his native language, right? So the sons are talking Hebrew to each other. And one of the things they're saying is, I told you we shouldn't have done that to Joseph, you know. I told you. And he's hearing them, and he turns away and starts to cry because it's touching his heart, because he's hearing from their own hearts, but he doesn't want them to see that he understands Hebrew. So when he spoke to them, he spoke through an interpreter. He spoke the Egyptian language, and they translated it into Hebrew. So that kept his identity, you know, incognito. Anyway, the point is that uh, he saves them. He saves them from starving. Because, you know, you can go without food, let's say 1 year, 2 years, the storage. I mean, probably the third year is like just absolutely horrible. You know, like just digging in a field looking for roots and bark and anything to eat, you know. So Jacob said to his sons, "Why are you standing around? Like, go down to Egypt and get food, because we've heard food is there." So this story goes like that. Point is that I need somebody to be prepared for the crisis, right? I need somebody to be here with an answer for me. And to be honest, it's really my wife usually. You know, my car's broken down. Hello, Lisa. We went and run out of money. Hello, Lisa. Is that you? What should I do now? You know. So there are people that are ordained of God for you in your life. There are, and they are the head, and I am the tail. But as long as I survive, I don't mind. But I would like it too that we would be for other people the head, and we would be able to be kind of in charge, one step ahead of the crisis, one step ahead. And by the way, what you don't have crisis because you are a half a step ahead, because the Lord's preparing you for that. And then you are for other people. Like a teenager, you need to be in the youth group. I'm telling you, you need to be in the youth group, you know, or a child, you know, go to the Christian school. Go to a Christian school. You need to be in a Christian school, if at all possible, you know, that kind of thing. People that fall in love with each other, you need to take your time. You need to have good counsel. You need to find a good church. You need to grow up and learn what that is to be a spouse and be responsible. It's not always easy. So you need the preparation, and God has ordained for us to be helpful to people and open up the storehouses. And you know, if you're starving and the storehouse is open, Joseph is the hero. That's very cool. And Jesus is that for us. Amen.